Hey everyone, welcome back. Stephen from Davenport European Martial Arts School. Today I wanted to do a short video on the poleaxe. And I'm doing this because I was asked a question by an author, how heavy is a battle axe? Are they extremely heavy? Are they light? How much, when they're writing their book, how much should they say it weighs? So let's get into the specifics of some different kinds of battle axes. Historically, the poleaxe is a family. It was referred to as a battle axe in some manuscripts. So whenever you read anything talking about a battle axe historically, you're most likely talking about like a poleaxe or something like that. This is a poleaxe. P-O-L-L-A-X-E, poleaxe. You will also sometimes see it referred to as poleaxe, P-O-L-E-A-X-E. The term pole in poleaxe refers to the hammer, not to the staff. This is called the pole. So this is a pole axe. This has several different tools. I like to think of this kind of like a medieval can opener. I've got my axe for driving down. I've got my dagger. I can use the dagger for thrusting at somebody who's on the ground. If I get hooked in an action, I've got a quick return that I can use to strike back at the face or the throat. I have spear point down at the other end, which means I can attack with either side. This part's called the Q in La Joute de la Hache. And then I have the haft. And the haft has these metal things coming down the side, which are called languettes. These are designed to cover the wood of the haft. And sometimes they're on two sides, like this one. Sometimes they're on four sides. The idea with the languette is that if it takes a heavy blow from another weapon, it won't cut all the way through the wood. It will stop on the metal. And so these languettes are there designed specifically to help protect the haft from being cracked or broken in the fight. When we look at this one, we have the pole on this side, the axe over here, the dagger, but also we have these little spikes that are right there on either side. And these can be used for hooking, gripping. All I need to do is catch just a little bit of armor, because if it turns and it hooks on anything, that's just enough to manipulate their balance a tiny bit, allowing me a moment to adjust to another target or regain my balance or my structure. This is an older poleaxe head. I believe it's still for sale. It comes unhafted from Get Dressed for Battle, which is a subsidiary of Casa Iberia. This one here is what's called a bec de corbin. We have the axe head, just like we did on the poleaxe. This is, again, in the family of poleaxe, but it's not a poleaxe because it does not have a hammer. This is called, again, a bec de corbin. The term bec means beak in French, and it refers to this part of the blade right here. So now I have my axe for striking, just like I did. I still have my dagger for thrusting home, but I can use this beak for piercing armor. And I still have my spear point on the back end. Like the poleaxe, it has the axe head. It has, instead of the pole, a raven's beak. It still has the dagger for thrusting if you get locked on people, and it has the spear point in the back. This one has 4 languettes, 2 very long languettes and 2 shorter languettes. This is an interesting piece because this one is designed off of a German piece that's in a museum, and in it, it has these two little fan things right here. These are actually designed to pull out so you can take the axe head off and put it on a new haft. It makes repairing the haft easier if and when it gets broken. And I say when because it is wood and people were using it to defend their lives and take other people's lives, and they had issues with that, so there was a lot of damage done to these. One of the neat things about this one is this little cutout right here in the blade. The reason for that cutout is when you get up close and personal, your hand fits right in there, and so if you have this on the ground and you got close, you can now use it to punch people and then quickly return out to striking your opponent. Again, this one is called a bec de corbin, which was made for me by a friend of mine. This exact model is not out there. I think he only made like 4. I really like it. And that brings us to our last version of the poleaxe. This is a production model made by Cold Steel. It is overly heavy, painted tactical black, so makes it cooler and will protect it from the elements, but really, if you're leaving your equipment these days out in the elements, there's already something wrong. It still has a hardwood haft, and you'll notice the languettes on this one go much more consistently around the haft, giving it a lot of protection. Unlike the historical pieces, because this is a reproduction, these are screwed in, not riveted in. We again have the axe head, which is sharp. It's got a good sound to it. And the pole on the back does not have the dag or the dagger at the top, nor does it have a butt spike. Again, this is a production model. I think it's overbuilt. Pole axes are heavier than a sword, but they're still not overly heavy. And I want to give you an idea of the weight of different weapons. The first poleaxe that we talked about was this one. And let's take a look at what this weighs. If I hook it up, this weapon as it stands right now is 4.85 pounds. So just under 5 pounds. I am 5'9", and this weapon is just below, right about eye level. So that means that at the top of the dag, this weapon would be about 5'5" or so. Let's go ahead and move on to the bec de corbin and see what that one weighs. And here we have the bec de corbin. So we're going to go ahead and weigh that one, find out what we have here. Now again, I'm 5'9", and let me back up a little bit. This one is probably about 6'3" at the top of the dag. 6 foot 3 inches to 6 foot 2 inches, somewhere between there, and so it's taller than I am. So let's go ahead and weigh this one to find out what it weighs at, again, somewhere between 6 foot 2 inches and 6 foot 4 inches. Lots of metal, axe, beak, dag, and butt spike. And when we weigh this one, it comes in at right about 5.3 pounds. So just over 5¼ pounds, which for a weapon this length and having 2 hands on it, you can swing this a long time. And that will take us to the production model of the poleaxe from Cold Steel. I personally think that this weapon is overbuilt. I'm not a big fan of it, but sometimes that's all you have access to. So we're going to say that this is on the very high end of the weight for a poleaxe. And here is the cold steel poleaxe. But let's go ahead and weigh it and see what we're at. This one sits at right about 6.6 pounds. So just over 6.5 pounds. That pound and a quarter difference between this and the Beck de Corbin doesn't sound like much, except that it's just all front heavy. There is no back spike, so there's no counterbalance at all. So we can say that the high end of a poleaxe, and again, I'm 5'9", so that puts this about maybe 6 foot total, just under 6 foot, something like that, at 6.5 pounds, so all on the front. So there we go. 3 different versions of a weapon from the family of poleaxe or battle axe. You'll notice none of these were those double bit axes like we see in movies or fantasy, because that's a weapon that didn't really exist. I won't say it wasn't around. Maybe somebody made it, but I've never heard of a historic piece like this, because why would you put 2 axes on it if you can put another tool on it? I hope this helps, gives you a little more information about the poleaxe, and if you are writing any novels or anything that has to deal with medieval weapons like this, please write in the comments and let me know if you have any questions about the poleaxe or other weapons, and I'll be happy to answer them. Please pass this on to anybody that you think would be interested in it. And with that, I want to say thank you very much. I'm glad to be back. 10 days of isolation with COVID, I'd rather not do it again. So until the next video, thank you very much and take care.
Would you like to know more?